You just had a nice chat with a local trans girl to later find out that you were labeled a chaser by her friends. But you did nothing wrong. You were polite, cordial, and pleasant. Unfortunately, this can happen sometimes and is a major point of distress for people who find themselves attracted to us. If this is you, don't fret. I hope in this video I can go over some of the more anxiety-inducing factors associated with pursuing us and propose a solution to hopefully make things a little less, just a little less, complicated. It is no secret that there aren't that many trans women in the world. We are, for the lack of a better word, scarce, especially in comparison to cis women who make up nearly half the world's population. With these statistics, one would have 166 times better chances pursuing cis women than a trans woman. So why do so many even bother? There are, however, no official statistics available on the percentage of people who are trans amorous. That is, people who find themselves either exclusively or additionally attracted to trans people. Going from experience, I can safely say that there are disproportionately many more trans-attracted people out there than there are of us. You've probably took notice too, feeling disheartened at the odds stacked against you. Much like you, most of us are also out there seeking our preferred partners, looking for love, sex, companionship, a form of connection, to say the least. However, whenever we put ourselves out there, we get swarmed by people who would crawl over broken glass just to have a bit of experience with us. And as with all things where low supply is met with high demand, there's no shortage of acts of desperation, pushiness, and unbecoming behavior. We know not all are like this, but there are enough to contaminate the pool for us. By the time you, a well-meaning trans-attracted person, comes along, I am sorry to say that most of us have already lost faith. You might even find yourself targets of residual animosity from some of us. We know good ones are out there, somewhere, but it's just not viable to our peace of mind to keep the doors open. We'd let in plenty of flies doing that. It is not you who is at fault, my dear, but the flaky ones who've sullied the reputation of the trans-attracted for all of us. And yes, it absolutely is an unfair state of affairs, with collaterals amany. A good portion of those who are attracted to us are neurotically secretive about it, often contacting us from behind masks of anonymity. Most of us don't even bother giving such folks a second glance. But let's say, for some odd reason, we gave such one a shot. No matter how much of a catch they'd be for us, their unreadiness, lack of resolution, inevitably messes up even the best of chemistry they would have had with us. Plenty of the discreet ones are NSA seekers, ones who hit every one of us up with specific fantasies, hoping one of us would eventually bite. While there is nothing wrong with seeking NSA relations, the tragedy of NSA seekers from trans women is a failure to recognize that only a fraction of us would naturally align with the dynamic thereafter. To be exact, a fraction of 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 trans women. Therefore, NSA seekers often find themselves being a nuisance in the trans dating scene, since they're often naively ignorant or downright inconsiderate of how diverse our sexualities or desires can be. Thus, they get chaser stamped, a label reserved for ones who chase after us with little regard for our boundaries or whether we'd even be into them. Pause. I know the term chaser also tends to get thrown around haphazardly, so please do not internalize it as meaning desiring trans people or trans eroticism. Then there are those who are in a perpetual state of yes, no, yes, no. These are ones who usually have intense bursts of desire about us, but become deathly indecisive should their attraction approach reality, always finding themselves in a tug of war between their desires and a socio-sexual cognitive dissonance. They often contact us, hoping we would somehow break through their mental barriers for them. But their psychological cherry, if you will, is not for us to pop. If this is where you find you are at, whether you're a discreeter, an NSA seeker, or in a flux of yes, no, yes, no's, I get you. You wish you could have your cake and eat it too, to be with us without the perceived consequences. You're probably afraid of what others might think, possible real-life repercussions, alienation, being judged, losing social status, friends, family members, ridiculed by the close-minded, or perhaps you haven't come fully in terms to your attraction towards us, or find yourself confused by it. I have no advice to offer you here, my friend. I know what it's like being trans, not what it's like desiring trans. I have, however, met others who were once like you and were able to get themselves past it. Those obstacles you face are ones that only you can sort through. There are no well-traveled paths, but ones that you'd need to carve out for yourselves. And this can take some time, maybe a few months, or for some of you, even decades. That is, if you don't get stuck along the way. A number of years ago, I held interviews with men and women who were attracted to trans women or were in a relationship with one. 9 men and 2 women in total who came forward answering my call to be anonymously interviewed in a coffee shop. One extra person showed up with flowers whom I had to turn away. The ones I did interview all spoke fondly of their trans partners or experiences, brimming with appreciation, understanding, and respect. A part of me was prepared for some level of cringe or awkwardness, as these were strangers I was meeting with after all, but instead I was greeted with nothing less than warmth, honesty, and integrity. During the interviews, listening to some of the joys and challenges that they shared with me, one thought kept repeating in my head. If they could only hear each other, share and learn from their experience. If only there was a support group for the trans attracted. As I was making this video, I searched to see if such groups existed, and indeed there are the beginnings of some, here and there. Not anything substantial yet, mind you, so if you know of any groups or resources for the trans amorous, I encourage you to share them in the comment section below. They don't even need to be called trans amorous groups per se, as some might prefer different labels or no labels at all, so long as the aim is the same. Desiring trans people doesn't need to feel like being stuck between a rock and a hard place. If you can find no such support groups, consider starting up one yourself. Pull resources together, build up a community, come up with ground rules, have social gatherings, events, newcomer nights, form a united front against the stigma, model healthy behavior, share, learn, and grow as a community, change the narrative, normalize desiring us and being with us, not just for yourselves, but also for others who are silently like you. We can't do it for you. We got our hands full. Besides, some of us have grown cynical. That is your frontier to collectively shape. It won't be easy, and by no way guarantee that you'll end up being with one of us. But it will certainly make things easier on you, and hopefully make the world a better place on your end and ours. You don't need to scream it from mountaintops. If you build it well, they will come, and you will be surprised at just how many of you are out there feeling alone the dark. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more, like and subscribe. I am Little Black Door, and these have been some of my news.